Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Brennan. I'm going to be walking you through a quick SolidProfessor demo today. So once your account is created, your designated admin is going to receive an email to set up their account from solidprofessor.com. So once you get that email, your admin can set up their account. It'll look something like this. This is your dashboard, your home page here. I'm going to walk you through everything. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to enter those into the chat. The first thing I want to do is take y'all into the course library here. We do have a lot more than just SolidWorks coursework available on SolidProfessor. So we do have content from the new 3D Experience platform. We have CAM on here. We do have some general background and theory like the GD&T and the engineering graphics. Those are both very popular, as well as the FEA and DFM background here. So I'd just like to take everybody through the full library because you have access to all of this, not just the SolidWorks, and you can view it from any device since it is accessed through a web browser. I'm going to take you into the SolidWorks library here. Once you get into the SolidWorks library, your versions will be here on the left-hand side. You can filter here. I prefer to do it a different way. My preference is to go into the course itself, and I'm going to go ahead and use part design here as an example. And then select my version here once I get into the course. I like to do it this way because not every course is going to have every version. This one, for example, doesn't have a 2020. Usually if that happens, it's just because the commands for that particular course didn't change between versions. But just in the interest of not missing anything that would still be helpful to you, that's why I like to pick the course based on what I want to learn about, and then come in here and select the version closest to mine. In the case of the 2024, just because it is so new, they're still in the process of being recorded and released. Most of them are out, but a couple will be out in the next month or so. You can download the course files for every course, so anytime the instructor is working on a part, you can put that part into your own program and work right alongside the instructor. There are technical certificates available for each one. There's a transcript if you need it, and then there's also an opportunity to give feedback. And the SolidProfessor team is incredibly receptive to their feedback, so I really encourage using this, whether that's to make comments about the course that you're in or request additional coursework. They do really use all of that feedback to make this platform better. Everything is done in what they call the micro-learning format. So the courses are a couple hours long, lessons are just a couple minutes. It's really easy to fit a couple of these here and there when you have some time. You don't have to sit through the whole thing all at once or try to remember your place. It's going to keep track for you. You can also bookmark a lesson using this button right here. So if there's one in particular that you want to be able to refer back to easily, you click the bookmark button. It'll pin it here to your dashboard on the bookmarks tab at the bottom. History is right next door. You can go back into your recently viewed there. You'll also have the pick up where you left off section with thumbnails to make it easy to jump right back into your learning. News at the bottom has articles geared towards engineering. There's some interesting things to read about here. The resources tab has the IT resources. The knowledge base has troubleshooting articles for this platform. And then there are 2 support hotlines. But if you're having issues with SolidProfessor, just go ahead and reach out to me. We can easily search this platform the same way you might search Google or YouTube now. Nothing wrong with YouTube, but I like this platform better for a couple reasons, so I just use May errors as an example here. I can bring open lessons quickly that are going to help me. What I like about it over something like YouTube is the ability to view it in a version that looks like mine, so it's not somebody using a much older version of SolidWorks. The other thing I really appreciate is that it's a 3 or 4 minute long answer to my question, and I don't have to go down a YouTube rabbit hole looking for it and trying to find the 4 minutes I need in an hour-long video with ads and all that other stuff. We can also search this by subject matter in general. So if I wanted lessons on servicing, for example, I can tell it what software I'm looking for. I can tell it whether I want an entire course or just a single lesson. And so if I put in course, there are all of the courses I have on servicing. So everything should be relatively straightforward to find. But again, if you want course recommendations, you can always reach out to me as well. The one I do like to recommend in particular to everybody would be the update trainings. So if we go into the SolidWorks update training, They have one of these for each new version of SolidWorks. It tells you all the new things you can do in that new version and then gives you some tangible examples of how to take advantage of those features. These are usually pretty short, so an hour or so, and I think they are definitely worth going through when you upgrade to a new version just to make sure you're getting the most out of it. Coming back to your dashboard here, there are a couple things under this Things to Do menu that I want you to be aware of. So the first one is that there is an add-in available for this platform. So the SolidWorks add-in looks something like this. The add-ins and convenience feature, you don't have to download the add-in if you don't want to, but what it does is it gives you an icon in your toolbar here where you can pull open that SolidProfessor web search without ever leaving your SolidWorks window. So again, you don't have to download it if you don't want to, but it's very convenient. The other thing I want to show you here is probably my favorite feature of this platform, and that's the skills assessment test. When you get to this page, one thing I want you to note, this is a publicly accessible page, so you can access this page and use the skills analyzer before ever having a SolidProfessor account. So if you already have an account, you can ignore the login and sign up here. You'll have two options. You can either test your skills or test your team. I recommend taking it yourself first to get a feel for what level you want to send out. What you would do is select Test My Skills, and then you'll have a choice between the basic, the advanced, and not pictured as an expert level of this test. They're 25 questions long, multiple choice, and based on your answers, they'll give you a custom recommended list of coursework on this platform. The test only takes 10 or 15 minutes to complete, so it's a pretty quick and efficient way to get your bearings on this platform and get a feel for which coursework is going to be most relevant to you as an individual. The Test My Team option is interesting. So if you do that, you're going to pick one of the tests the same way. You're going to fill out your information, and then it's going to generate a custom web link to whichever exam you selected. It's also going to email you a results dashboard where you can view the test results of anyone that took the exam using your custom link. So there's a couple different ways you can go with that. You can send it out to your existing team to sort of establish a baseline. But the other way that you can use it is as a screening tool in the hiring process. When you send that test link out, the person that you send it to does not need to have a SolidProfessor account to take that test. So you don't have to give them one of your logins. You don't have to worry about them having their own. And then you get a lot of good information. I'm going to show you what an example of a skills gap results dashboard looks like. So it should look something like this. I'll be able to see the average score for all of my responses as well as the number of responses I got. I can see the results by section. I can see the amount of time it took each user to take the test. And then I can see each individual's results. I can see every question they answered, as well as what they put as the incorrect answer to get some insight that way. And you can send this test out as many times, as many different levels as you would like. Coming back to your dashboard here, one other awesome thing about this platform is the learning paths. So the Certified SolidWorks Associate and Certified SolidWorks Professional are two certification exams that come from SolidWorks directly. With your active subscription to SolidWorks, you get access to 2 vouchers per year per SolidWorks license to take those exams. It's one of those features of subscription that I find that most people are not aware of, so I try to make sure everybody knows that you have those available to you. And then the learning paths are like study guides for those exams. They make it really easy to prepare if you want to pursue those certifications. So if I come in here to see paths, I've got one for each level. So the associate, the professional, even the expert. The expert level is the only one that the vouchers don't cover, so keep that in mind. And then there are a couple other learning paths here that are not for a specific exam. They're just collections of lessons on that topic. So for example, this expert simulations path takes you through those FEA background and theory and then into the SolidWorks simulation tools. And the GD&T path is also very popular. That's just all the GD&T coursework in one easy to follow place. But let's go ahead and go into the associate path here as an example. It's got all the course content you need that covers what's going to be on that exam. So for the CSWA, it's an intro and a couple essentials. Based on the user's experience level, they may be able to click through this pretty quick. I always recommend at least clicking through it to make sure there's not one of those lesser used functions you just need to refresh on before taking a test. But the most important one that you want to pay very close attention to would be this prep course here at the end. They actually have people at SolidProfessor that go and take these exams every year. And they come back and tell you these are the types of questions you're going to be asked. This is the way it was structured. They give you a ton of guided and practice exercises. They even talk about how to download and set up the exam. So it's got everything that you need to be very comfortable come test day. One thing I do want to note, this prep course here is the one exception to the take it in your version rule. So you can take these courses in whatever version you'd like, but always take the prep courses in the most recent release, just because the test does change a little bit year over year, so you want to make sure you have current information. Back to your dashboard here, the last thing I want to point out before I get into using this tool as an administrator is the portfolio feature. So this is new, they just added it, but I think it's pretty interesting. So you get 2 pages on your portfolio. You get an about page where you can put a bio, your background, and you get a public URL so you can share this to LinkedIn or your own personal website. It'll keep track of all the certificates you've gotten from SolidProfessor. And then you'll also have a portfolio page where you can upload image files of projects that you've done. So you can create an online portfolio and it's very easily shareable. Coming back to your dashboard here, now we're going to go ahead and get into the different account types on SolidProfessor. And there are 3 different account types. One is not used all that often. It's called client admin. The only thing a client admin can do is add and remove users. They can't actually view any coursework. So it's really a way for IT or HR to have access to add and remove users, since it counts as an inactive login and it allows them to add and remove people without taking up an active seat. So if you see that one, that's what it is. But the main 2 account types you're going to be using the most often are learner and manager. Learners can do everything we've done up until this point. They'll also have a groups tab, and I'll talk about groups in a minute. Manager is the account type we have here that has 3 extra permissions, and that's the ability to create those groups, the reporting tab where you can track the stats, and the admin tools where you can add and remove users. Creating a group is a way to structure the learning on this platform. You don't have to create groups. You can let people come in here and just take whatever they're interested in taking. But if you want to use this as part of your onboarding process or as structured training for your team, groups are the best way to do that. If you click Create Group, it's pretty easy to do. There are pre-made lesson plans or you can start from scratch. The difference between these two being a pre-made lesson plan is a way to assign a single course. If you want to combine lessons from multiple courses, you have to go the start from scratch route, which is a little bit more time consuming. So if you don't see a pre-made one that works for you, you can always reach out to me with a bullet list of topics that you want covered, and I'd be more than happy to create groups for you as well. Pre-made ones are easy to use though, so I'm going to show you how to do that. You just click Use Lesson Plan. We name the group. So let's say you get a brand new hire, you just want a SolidWorks intro group. A group code's like a password. If you want to put a password on there, you can. You don't have to, you can just leave it blank. And then we pick our subject, so I can make GD&T groups, Mastercam groups, whatever you need, but I'll stick with SolidWorks for now. And then we've got, like I said, all the courses from your main course page are on here, and that goes from the very, very introductory into more advanced SolidWorks topics. There's lessons on PDM, sheet metal weldments, everything SolidWorks you need is in here. But for this example, I'm just going to choose this Intro to SolidWorks group here. I can see all the coursework it's going to include, and then I can drill down even further to see each individual lesson, guided exercise, and practice exercise so that I know exactly what's going to be covered. Once I've decided it's a good fit, there's a couple quick questions on this side. So the first one is status. Published means your learners can join this group on their own. Unpublished is a private group that you as a manager would have to manually add users to. You can limit test attempts if you'd like. These top 3 options here are a way to keep your users from skipping through the lessons without actually watching them. This is really a holdover from when this was for students, so you can probably ignore these. But I do like to put a baseline test on there. I think that's a nice before and after picture, and I think it gives your users some satisfaction of seeing that they're getting something out of this coursework. You can also enable a testing timer if you'd like. You hit complete, and that's it. You're good to go. It would show up on your groups page here. When you get access to SolidProfessor, it'll have some of these preloaded sample groups. If you want to get rid of these, you just go to the 3 dots and you hit delete. But joining a group for your users is as easy as clicking it and moving through that content. They did add an option here to do default group settings, so if you want to apply those selections that you made globally across all your groups, you can do that very easily via that button there. The reporting tab is where we can track those stats. So the main page is cumulative. You've got lesson views, tests taken, the top learners, the top content that's being viewed. And if there's something that you want to be able to report on that you don't see here, all you have to do is let me know, because we do have the ability to build custom reports as well. If I want to track progress through the groups I've created, I just click the group I'm interested in. I can see who's assigned to it, their overall progress, and then their progress through each individual assignment that that group includes. I can also view this by test score, and I can export the whole thing to Excel to view it that way. The last thing I want to show you is the admin tools, how to add and remove users. So if I come in here to admin tools, the first page it's going to take me to is all members, where I can see how many active members I have and how many seats I have available. Creating a new member is easy. You go to create new, first name, last name, email, and they'll get the same activation email that the original admin got. It will automatically create all new members as a learner. If you want to give the manager permissions, you can. All you have to do is click their name, you hit edit, and you change their role here. You can have as many managers or learners or client admins in your account as you'd like and as you have seats available. If you want to remove somebody's access, it's very easy to do. So all you have to do is go to the 3 dots by their name and then hit deactivate member. That will immediately free up that seat for you to add the next person in. So there's no lag time. It's really easy to shift people in and out of here. You'll also be able to reactivate them. You just go right back, hit reactivate, and they're back in just as quickly. So the good thing about that process is that when you deactivate, it just freezes the account in time. So when you reactivate them later, it's like they never left. They won't lose any of their progress. That allows you to kind of play musical chairs with these seats if you need to and shift people in and out in groups. If you want to completely remove somebody's access, you go to the 3 dots and you hit remove from account. Keep in mind, if you use this option, you can't re-add them without getting tech support involved. So I don't use this generally unless I know that person will never need access again. If I want to track the progress of my users, I can also do it from this page. So I can search by name and pull whichever user I want to track up. So let's look at Marshall. So if I pull Marshall up here and click the views next to his name, I can see every course he's ever taken. And I can see when he did it and how far he got, what version he took. So there's a lot of data on each individual that the managers have access to. You can also track when their last access was. You can put them into user groups. You get a lot of good flexibility here. If I want to track progress through the groups I've created, I just click the group. I can see who's assigned to it, their overall progress, and then if I click this progress here, I get those same view statistics. If I want to manually add a user to a group, I can either create a new learner if they're not already preloaded in all members, or if they are, I can do add existing and I get a drop-down menu of everyone that I have preloaded. If I want to remove somebody from a group, also very easy to do, I just click the checkbox by their name and hit remove from group. That will not completely remove them from the account, so that is safe to use. That's the end of my demo here, but what I do want to point out is that as MLC CAD customers, you will have access to our customer success team throughout the entirety of your subscription. So if you need help creating groups, adding, removing users, if you ever have questions about this platform, that's what we're here for. So our team is there to help you build learning paths and lesson plans and groups, even whole training programs for your team. So again, please feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I really appreciate you all listening.